Well, Adam, we're here. The Cavs are facing the New York Knicks, who recently won 18 of their 25 games to end the year, and were 3-1 against the Wine and Gold this season. Still, the Knickerbockers are big underdogs right now. Is there a particular player that you are worried about on the Knicks? And how about a player that needs to step up for the Cavs?
Well, we've talked about this over the last couple of episodes. We've known that this is coming, and we are concerned. I mean, we have legitimate concerns because the Knicks are probably a better team than they appeared to be through most of the season, and their record at the end of the year kind of shows that. The fact that they beat us 3 out of 4 times is a concern for sure. And, you know, kind of my biggest worry is actually player related. It is Julius Randle. I'm concerned about him coming back healthy and being the force of nature that he is through the first series. He's averaging 25 points this year. His shooting percentages are up. He's averaging a double-double with 10 rebounds. So he's going to be probably one of the biggest challenges if we can figure out a way, if he's going to be hobbling at all on his injury or maybe not playing his full minutes. We have to take advantage of that as much as possible. But all indications point to him being ready for game 1, and then we'll just see how he goes. So that's probably my biggest concern for a Knicks player. I think in general I'm concerned about the Knicks overall because of what I've stated already. Plus, you know, they were bounced last year in the first round. I think they've got a bad taste in their mouth over that. And RJ Barrett, I know, was just in the media talking about how he feels that they're being very disrespected coming into this matchup. They're minus 200 underdogs, I believe, something like that in the betting line. So they got a big chip the size of the Big Apple on their shoulder, and that could be bad. So I could see us losing the first game. That could spell disaster for the series in general. So we really have to take advantage of the fact that we locked up home court advantage. I think that if we don't win all of our games at home, there's a real shot that we'll lose in 7 in this series. Now, a Cavs player that needs to step up, I'm going to say an obvious choice here. I'm going to say Jared Allen needs to be huge in this series. And it's mostly because of the first player that I mentioned, Julius Randle. Now, Evan Mobley might match up well against him, but I think that the veteran presence of Allen is going to make a bigger difference underneath. And we've talked at length over the past year and a half at how important Allen is. We basically could change our name to the Jared Allens. You know, like we're an extremely ride or die kind of team with him in there or not. So I'm going to say Jared Allen's going to be huge for the series. He's probably going to be one of the most important pieces for most of the series. But if he can match up well and kind of own the paint and keep people like Randle in check, then I think that we could win in 5. But we'll see how that goes. What do you think?
This is kind of funny. I think that you and I usually don't do this. I agree with both of your points. I think that if Randle is healthy, then he is definitely terrifying in a lot of ways. But I also agree with you that we need to have Allen really curb him in any capacity. Even if Randle's 100%, I expect Jared Allen to cause a lot of issues for Randle. But I went small. I think that Jalen Brunson is really scary because he also played really well for the Mavericks last year in the playoffs. And I've mentioned before, I live in the Philadelphia area. Brunson played for Villanova. I saw him on that stage there in college basketball. He's just a really savvy player, and those types of players are scary. And we know that Okoro should be okay, but you never know with knee injuries. We know that it's not an injury where his injury will get worse. My understanding, Chris Fedor had reported in his most recent episode of the Wine and Gold podcast that supposedly it's a bone bruise. So unless he knocks knees, Okoro should be all right. But you never know with, a knee injury is a knee injury.
Colin Sexton.
So I digress there. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then I went small again for the player that I think that really needs to step up is Darius Garland. I think that Garland has looked lost at sorts during the season. I think that he has played really well overall during the season, but during this the last 10 games of the season, he has shot a putrid 28% from three, and that is god awful and just won't cut it in this playoff atmosphere. Garland needs to be the best shooter on the floor outside of Donovan Mitchell on both teams. And he has the capacity to do that because we have seen him get extremely hot and his range is crazy. So I think that Garland really needs to kind of own up to his kind of wobbly play and just let all of that go and just be extra focused, and he needs to just shoot much, much better. And he had a problem with shooting last year in the play-in. You and I mentioned, I remember that episode, he shot horribly in the play-in. I believe it was against the Nets, and just didn't look great against the Hawks either. So he has some big shoes to fill, because even though this is Donovan Mitchell's team right now, as the countless basketball discussions Adam and I have had off air, Adam has always believed, I'll speak for him right now, Adam's always believed the point guard is the leader of your team. And Darius Garland ultimately is the leader of how this offense is executed, and he needs to really show up. And so that's the guy that I would put the onus on as far as the Cavaliers.
So the point guard is the floor general. That's what I've always said. And he's the person that is responsible for executing the fundamentals of the plays, the play calls, making sure people are in the right spots and keep people accountable. The best point guard we have on this team that does that is Ricky Rubio. It's interesting that you went small. I don't think that you're wrong. It could easily go that direction. And I did not know that stat about Garland. That's not good. And that's not good at all. My concern about it
my
is
expert opinion.
Well, it's not good because it to me it points to a consistency of him basically running out of gas by the end of the year. That
right. Yeah.
Maybe 2 years in a row now, he's got nothing in the tank with 10, 12 games left. And that shouldn't have happened this year because it wasn't completely on him to win these games like it was last year. So, hopefully
we
he
should
just
put a little breaking news ticker.
Hopefully
That's
he just got cold at the right time, which was at the end of the year when it doesn't matter, and now he'll get hot again to start the playoffs. But we'll see.
It's really, if you just look at the last 10 games, it's just really super up and down. Some games he's hitting over 500 from three, or over 50% from three, and other games he's hitting 16%. So that's just not what's going to cut it.
Well, especially from a guy that is supposed to be able to hit it from anywhere. I mean, as a person that wanted to be able to be that kind of shooter, when you're advertised as that, you better be that. And Donovan Mitchell came in touting, oh my God, this guy can shoot it from anywhere. Well, that's been Donovan Mitchell to my eye more than Garland. So come on, Garland, step up. Let's see it. I want to see you make the shots in practice, right? Now make them in the game. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to the Cavaliers Basketball Club podcast. Let's go Cavs!